Welcome to Between Chapters. I'm Eric, and today I want to talk to you about Where Magic Slept, my novel. I am getting really close. I think I could be done with draft 1 in September. That's a big deal, because I was giving myself the fall to do it, but I might be done before the fall gets here. Wait, I don't even know when fall gets here. I scratch that. I always said scratch it because I could just technically delete it when I'm editing, but I won't. This has been a process, and I wish I would have set a date or like marked a date for when I started, and maybe my app can do it or something. But anyway, I don't know how long I've been working on this run of writing. I have developed the concept over a few years, built the world, figured out the story for the most part, and then went at it. Like I said, this novel was a short story of 13,000 words, and now I've blown it up into this big world of, I think, over 116,000 words. So I'm not sure where I'm at exactly now, but it's bigger than 13,000. But it's evolved into something I'm so passionate about and love so much. And the thrilling thing about writing something you care about is as you're typing, I've made myself cry. I've made myself laugh. I've given myself goosebumps. I've made myself feel slightly nauseous, but then really excited because that visceral response, whatever I'm getting, it's not drastic, it's not over the top by any means, but it's enough that I know that if I feel it, I'm hoping you will as well. That's a big part of writing or creating anything, is that someone can feel something. Will I reach everybody? No, of course not. But the people I do reach should feel the impact of the story, and I'm really excited to share it with you. And I hope you have that experience. But one thing I wanted to share with you about the process specifically is, as I get close to the end, I feel like maybe it would make sense to have this sprint. But I found myself sprinting before, and then as I get closer, so many details that I haven't figured out that I have these hitches in my step where they don't last long, maybe a day, maybe half a day, but I go to bed or I'm taking a shower and I'm thinking and then I solve it. Sometimes I set the computer down for a few minutes and then I solve it. And when I do, I gotta write that down, and it's super exciting because there's this fear of the blank page. There's this fear of starting a new chapter. And I think that's natural. I think that's all part of it because, we don't really get through life by avoiding discomfort or running away from adversity. We have to lean into those things and face them. Otherwise, we don't get the reward, which is breakthrough. And breakthrough for me means writing more in my story, having that make more sense, and certain storylines, discovering them along the way. I had that recently, and again, I try not to do spoilers about my own book, but I'm trying to thematically give you what I'm talking about. There are things near the end of the book that I had going one direction, but as I was writing, all of a sudden I have this light bulb moment, and I say, we're going that way because I discovered it accidentally. And that seems counterintuitive, that you as an author are not knowing where you're going. And yes, you could look at Stephen King, The Pantser, just let me start with a stake in the ground and see where the story goes. I am partly that. I also want to be a planner because I am disorganized by nature and have made many mistakes and continue to. I was writing yesterday and wrote this really great sequence of events for a battle and loved it. Ooh, it made me feel some things. And I was not expecting it because that's not necessarily what I consider my forte, but it was working. And what I do when I write is I will write out the rough outline of this flow of events. Then I'll go back, and take these bones and put meat on them and flesh them out more. Something will spark and I'll put more detail. Maybe it's like, then they rushed in here and slashed, but this slash knocked them down, and then they were swarmed by people, and then over here, it's not that basic, but it's more basic like that. Then now I go back in and I add the feelings, the smells, the sensory details. And as I do that, I get more ideas of how to make it more compelling. And then sometimes, maybe I should say most of the time, you run into problems and then you have to solve that problem. So I'm like scripting this battle, and I all of a sudden realize this is a perfect place to put her in adversity so she can make a choice that moves her character forward. And then I put him in it. And then I go, that was a good idea, Eric. How the hell are you going to get him out? So I wasn't even thinking about what that shift in her character or that arc is going to be. But then as I'm sitting there thinking about it, because I wrote myself into this thing to thinking about it because I wrote myself into a corner, and I believe you should write yourself into a corner from time to time. And I'm sitting in that corner going, okay, what is her character? It's this. What's her arc? It's this. Ooh, I could do this because I have this magic system that can come in here, and this makes it so that she has to allow someone to help her as she has helped someone else. And to do it, she has to surrender, and she does. And this really cool moment happened that I had no plan on making, but it freaked me out as I was writing it. It grossed me out in the best way. And I was thrilled by it because I didn't say, wouldn't this be cool if this thing happened? When you do that, that makes it not storytelling, it's situation telling. And so that's not the heart. It could be interesting, but you're not going to read 400 pages of that. You're not going to just read situation after situation. So I didn't have that solution, but it was born out of writing Vera into a corner and then helping her get out of it through character development. And that's hard to do. That is really challenging. It's easier to say, and then she blew up and everyone flew, or, whatever you want to do, like fantastical kind of superhero stuff. But the best superheroes even have flaws and have challenges and don't just win the day. And so in that moment, because I was writing her into a corner, wrote myself into a corner, I had to be creative and figure out how am I going to get this person out and what is this situation testing in her. And part of storytelling is understanding how each scene is testing a character or informing the reader about the world or advancing the plot somehow. And so when you're doing that, you're building a cohesive narrative, but that's not a smooth process. That is herky-jerky at best. And when you have those moments, I call them spring and summer, where you're just bearing fruit and it's just like, woo, this is amazing. And then you get into fall and winter where you're like, I don't know how to solve this. When summer comes around and you do solve it, man, it's good to be there. It's a ride. And when you're reading a story, it's the same thing. If you don't know everything that's going to happen, you can't predict it. It's more fun because the revelation hits better. Or really bad. If you don't like it, it's really hit or miss. So the choices I'm making in my story, I don't want to overthink that if they're going to be ones you want them to be, because then I'm just going to write myself into a bad corner, like the naughty corner, and I'm going to sit with a little dunce hat. Sorry for making you mad. And I don't want that to be my energy when I'm writing. You feel that difference? Telling you a story versus scarily telling you a story? Like, that's not who I am or who I want to be. So the ending is near. The finish is coming. I have no idea how long it'll take me to edit this book or who I'll bring in to edit it. I do know I have some beta readers, some ARCs that will be going out, and I need a few more people to commit to that. Right now, the book is probably going to be 400 and some pages, so it's not a small book, but we'll see what it is. In the past, when I've done this, I wrote one other novel, and I had a group of 5 beta readers. None of them read the book, and then I went to an editor and they edited it and helped me a lot, but I didn't have those beta readers. And this time I really want that. Some people who are really committed to putting in the time to finish this, to read this novel and give me their feedback. The negative things will come with care and compassion, I hope. But that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for sticking with me as we shift from right through it to between chapters, and I take away the resiliency stuff, which will still be sprinkled in this channel a little bit, is who I am, but I'm not going to go as deep as I will on the Creative Compass. So if that does interest you, please remember to go subscribe to that channel so you don't miss those videos. And if you ever want to check it out, it's going to be there. But that's going to do it for now. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you in the next one. And until then, journey well, my friends.